When you go woke, you really go broke. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about San Francisco Mayor London Breed announcing over $200 million in cuts to public services. Now, the question is, what's going on? Why is she all of a sudden being kind of fiscally responsible? Or is it being fiscally responsible? What's going on? Let me explain what's happening. San Francisco is experiencing what a lot of other big cities across the country are facing. It's called a doom loop. And what that is when you have retail space, workspace, spaces that are occupied by big companies paying large amounts of money in rent and taxes and whatnot. And also when they attract people to a place, whether it be they come for work, they come for leisure, whatever the people come to the place for, they are going to support the surrounding businesses from that foot traffic. So here's an example. Let's say I am an employer and have an office building, and I have, let's say, 200 employees in the office building, just a random number. Now I'm paying the rent for that particular place. I am bringing 200 people every day. They got to park somewhere. They're going to probably eat somewhere close by for lunch. Maybe when they get off of work, they might do some shopping, maybe some more eating. Whatever it is, I'm bringing foot traffic. And if that's happening with this office building, that office building, this store, that store, this store, that store, you're going to see that whole process of people coming in, spending money, taxes being paid, rent being paid. That's going to be amplified all over the place. That's going to be a big economic impact on the city. This could be the majority of a city's tax revenue from the businesses that employ people, some of the top executives at the business, and all the ancillary business that happens. Back a few years ago, I did some graphic design work for an event, for a conference. The conference was like 3 days, and the city put out a report that said that the conference did some like $20 million in tax revenue, some large amount of money just from that one weekend, because it were thousands of people from all over the country that came in. They went to the hotels, they spent money nearby. But when you have things that are going on in San Francisco, like closing some retailers that have been around 50 years, you're closing offices because nobody wants to go. Why do you want to go to San Francisco and work when you don't have to? You can work remote. And if you do go there, you're in danger of being carjacked, kidnapped, all type of stuff because of the lax policies in the city. You're going to have less money to use in your budget as a result of all this stuff. Less people, less offices, less businesses, less taxes, less money. That's ultimately what's going on right now with the doom loop, not only in San Francisco, but also Chicago, New York, etc. Now, let's get into the article. And of course, this article will be in the box if you want to read it for yourself. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. You see the headline, exclusive. We're on dailymail.com. San Fran mayor orders police, health, and other departments to propose cuts of $206 million in desperate attempt to reverse city's doom loop spiral into economic collapse. All right, so London Breed has ordered San Fran department heads to propose cuts that will prevent the city from reaching a $500 million deficit by 2025. Law enforcement faces cuts of $27.6 million, while the public health department could lose $25.9 million, according to dailymail.com analysis. The radical cuts are an embarrassing U-turn by Breed, who was forced to tear up the record-breaking $14.6 billion budget she signed off just 3 months ago. Now, San Fran is not that big. It's a major city, but it's not that big necessarily. $14.6 billion, what are we spending the money on? Is that just for 1 year? Like, where is that money actually going? Now, I know it's a lot of money in the city. A lot of big tech is there. I think the the lowest you can get a house in San Fran is $1 million. That's the absolute lowest. And that might have been a couple years ago. I'm sure it's higher than that right now. You go to certain spots across the country. You go to Bend, Oregon, Bozeman, Montana, random places like that. They have houses that are going for 1.4, 1.7, 1.8. Random, regular, everyday looking cookie cutter development houses, 1.8. So I'm sure that the lowest price in San Fran proper is much higher than the 1 million that I saw about 2 or 3 years ago. Let's keep on going. So let's zoom in a little bit here. San Fran's mayor has ordered city departments, including police and public health, to propose budget cuts of $206 million by next week in a desperate attempt to reverse the stricken city's doom loop spiral into economic collapse. Law enforcement budgets in the city, which is ravaged by homelessness, drugs, and a downtown business exodus, face cuts $27.6 million, while the public health department could lose. They could use it, but they're going to lose a further $25.9 million, according to DailyMail.com analysis. The fire department must propose reductions of around $10 million to meet the mayor's demand, while the city's crumbling municipal transport agency must find savings of $15.5 million, a review of official figures suggests. Now, I almost forgot. I mentioned other cities, but New York City facing the same problem. Eric Adams is saying we're trying to cut everything by 5%, all departments by at least 5%. The same thing's going to happen all over the country. Now, some are going to say that there are legitimate reasons to have budget cuts because the entire budget, what they say, 14.6 is probably too high. It's probably overinflated, but maybe you don't cut the budget where it's needed the most. Maybe you don't cut it with, law enforcement, fire department. You're cutting the budget in the places where it's most needed. I'm sure there's other red tape, bureaucracy, agencies in the city that are getting a ton of money that are not going to get cut for some reason. I wonder why. Anyway, in a letter dated October 11th, Mayor London Breed ordered departments to propose massive cuts to this year's budgets in order to prevent San Fran from reaching a $500 million deficit by 2025. The radical cuts mark an embarrassing change, a track for Breed, who is now forced to tear up the record-breaking $14.6 billion annual budget she signed off just 3 months ago. Department heads across the city have until Thursday, October 26th, to propose their cuts. So, I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, the sharpest knife in the drawer, the brightest crayon in the box. But if the budget is $14.6 billion and they might fall 500 million short, that goes from 14.6 to 14.1. If that's right, wrong, y'all let me know in the comments. But let's see here. So here's a graphic. So sheriff and the DA are taking away 9.1, fire department 10.5, homelessness 9 million. Now, I can kind of get on the train of cutting the budget for homelessness, because what does that really mean? Are you enabling the homelessness? A lot of people that are homeless in San Fran are not just homeless because it's expensive. They are homeless because they traveled to San Fran from all over the country, maybe even all over the world, because they want to be homeless in San Fran. There's so many services. The weather is not that bad. It just makes sense to be homeless up there rather than being homeless in Podunkville, USA. You could be homeless in a place where you can panhandle, make a lot of money. The drugs are pretty much open air drug markets. You can do whatever you want. And a lot of times you're going to get some of this $9 million in your personal pocket. And not just from the city. There's also non-governmental organizations, NGOs, that will pay you essentially to be homeless. But anyway, police department, you're going to lose 18.5, public health 26, transport 15.4. And there is the culprit, Mayor London Breed. I will link to this full article in the description box so you can read all the details there. But yeah, that's what's happening. San Fran is trying to cut their budget because they're losing tax revenue, essentially, as I close. When your policies, the soft on crime, anti-broken windows policing, when that happens, what is the result is going to be you'll lose money. Why would I come to San Fran and spend my money when A, I don't have to, If I work at a company in the city, but I'm able to work from home, why would I ever go to the city for what? I probably don't live in San Fran. I probably live somewhere outside, and it's going to be a long commute rather than fighting traffic, rather than fighting the crackheads, rather than fighting the parking situation, rather than dealing with that, I'll just work from home. So if an office building has no more use, then the company is not going to continue to spend money on it. They're going to pull money out. So there goes that tax revenue. There goes the real estate is going to just sit there empty. There goes the people that would be there to go to work. They're not going to spend any money. They're not going to pay any parking fees. They're not going to pay tickets. The money that you would get from the foot traffic is now gone. When you have a bustling metropolis, there's a lot of money and economic opportunity and economic activity happening. But when that goes away and you have a ghost town, there's no money. So where will the money to fund the city come from? You got to make cuts. And like I said, I think they're cutting the budget in the wrong way, in the wrong place. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what's happening here with the budget cuts in San Fran? Is it inevitable as it is in New York City, Chicago, etc.? Because, hey, if you can't keep a lid on the crime, shoplifting, breaking into cars, people don't feel safe to go to work. They don't feel safe to go eat or shop. If you can't keep a lid on that, you are going to have less of that activity, less of the activity of shopping and spending money. You're enabling the criminal activity, which is stifling the economic activity. But whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is a policy failure, bottom line. It was predictable. We all saw it coming. We knew that this whole defund the police and anti-law enforcement, this anti-police and anti-law enforcement attitude would result in this. Maybe London Breed didn't know. Maybe the wokesters who voted for her didn't know. But now you know. And if you keep on down this same road, it's not going to get any better. Cutting the last people that have any of the city's best interests at heart will just make it worse. What they're doing right now is part of the doom loop, not just the businesses and the people leaving the city. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.